Well, that was a lot more fun than I expected. I am gonna go get a shower right now.
Corsets. So scary, right? Everyone knows that corsets were just for getting super small waist because everyone tight-laced, that corsets caused organ damage, were basically pretty cages that held women back, and some women even had ribs removed to get even smaller waists, right? Wrong. Yes. Some women and even men tight-laced in corsets, but this is an extreme that became a stereotype that sticks in the mind and blots out the apparently less interesting historical facts regarding corsets. The majority of people who wore them did so because they are bust and back support garments that help create a fashionable silhouette, much like bras and other shapewear today. They were not usually patriarchal torture devices for women, most of whom did all their daily activities in stays or corsets for the past several centuries until the early 20th century. Bernadette Banner, Carolina Zabrowska, and Abby Cox have videos busting these waist size and corset myths and analyzing their origins. And I'll link some of those in the description box below. The purpose of this video is to join a cadre of costumers who are collaborating in a series of videos on corsetry in motion. We all wear stays and corsets as part of our historical and cosplay costumes. And I can comfortably spend all day in mine at an event. I can drive in them, dash across a field to my car because I forgot something, bend over to pick something up. I can sit, I can stand, eat, walk, even go to the restroom in my stays and corsets. I even wear stays and corsets at home a few times a week to help with my back problems. In the before times, I had plans for more active group costuming adventures like fossil collecting at outcrops and a cave tour, and I hope to reschedule those for next year. But for this corsetry in motion video, I settled on the most active thing I do at home, workout. Okay, so I'm basically doing an experiment on myself and sharing my results with you. I did both yoga and a high-intensity interval training workout in 3 different sets of stays or corsets. My 18th century stays by Red Threaded, my Regency soft stays or corset I made using a fig leaf pattern, and my Victorian corset given to me by a friend. Disclaimer: I am not a doctor or an exercise expert, and if you want to try any of these exercises with or without a corset on, you need to remember that you do so at your own risk. And I'll link the channel where I learned a lot of these moves, a channel I am in no way affiliated with but watch regularly, in the box below. I chose moves that I'm very familiar with and do frequently, and at all times I listened to my body and did not push myself if there was any discomfort. There is no such thing as no pain, no gain. That mentality just leads to injury. I personally find corsets that fit well to be comfortable and produce no lasting ill effects even after a day of wear. With these things in mind, let's get started. I do apologize for being partially out of frame in some of these shots. My indoor filming space is rather limited and it was raining outside, so I could not set up out there in the mud. I started with yoga, which involves a lot of bending and twisting at the waist and hips. I could still twist my torso, but there was some restriction of movement, especially in the 18th century stays and Victorian corset. My Regency stays aren't boned and just have a metal bust in front, so that felt no different. My forward reach was definitely inhibited, but you can see I can still bend forward some, keeping my glutes on the mat and maximizing the back stretch. I don't have my bust sewn into my Regency stays, so it kept popping out. The cat-cow stretches were pretty much the same. I just felt like I was getting hugged while doing them. Spinal balance was easier, likely because the corsets were supporting my abs as they worked to keep me from toppling. The crunches were more difficult though, not in a painful way, but in the sense that my movement was restricted. These were easiest in the Regency stays. Stinkerbell enjoyed supervising my yoga while being a vent cat. Now for more dynamic moves. Downward dog and forward bends felt weird but not painful because the bottom of the bust or the stomacher dug into my bladder. I don't remember the names of all of these positions. Warrior 1, Warrior 2, Warrior 3, Warrior Infinity? Anyway, I had a harder time bending at the waist to reach towards my feet, especially in the 18th century stays and Victorian corset. But you can see I still get some semblance of the moves. The boning in my corsetry, where there is boning, is all flexible plastic and metal, so it does move with me to an extent. I am not great at balance moves on a normal day, and if anything, my corsets helped me with tree pose. Like a lot of people, I am better at balancing on one foot than the other. My favorite pose is pigeon, and I do this pose almost every day to help with hip tightness. The corsets pushed on my bladder a bit, but I was able to put my head on the mat. Again, I move slowly and deliberately during yoga to listen to my body and avoid injury. The only pain you should feel might be the good hurt of a nice stretch. Now for the HIIT workout, HIIT. I go back and forth between more intense cardio moves and less intense strengthening ones, often lower body, then abs, or upper body. I started with 15 jump squats. For all squats, I keep my torso lifting, my knees tracking in line with my toes, and my weight back in my heels so that I'm using my glutes to lift off the floor. My ab muscles are engaged to keep my correct posture and protect my back. This move was a breeze with each corset. Bicep curls were also easy. Think of all the stuff working women of the past would have to lift while wearing their stays and corsets. I think the stays with shoulder straps even helped me keep my shoulders back. I know, this move looks crazy. I could not do jump switch lunges when I first tried them. It was only after doing gobs of other non-jumping lunges that my quads and hamstrings were strong enough. I only do 10 pairs at a time anymore, and I get too wobbly. These were also super easy with all 3 corsets. Again, I keep my weight on the heel of my front leg to maximize glute action and my knees in line with my toes. Time for tricep curls. I have winged scapula, so it is difficult for me to keep my elbows from bowing out, and I think the shoulder straps in the earlier stays made that even worse, but I felt like I was using the correct muscles. That's another thing I've learned doing these workouts. You can't zone out or you could get injured. Focus on the muscles that are supposed to be doing the work, and they are more likely to do it, rather than an unintended muscle group that could get hurt. Next came V-ups for the abdominal muscles. I have a hard time doing these without a corset because my body wants to bend at the waist rather than towards the hips, and I had a lot of trouble getting to a V shape in all of the corsets. It did not hurt at all. Instead, it felt like the corsets were telling me I was moving incorrectly, so they weren't gonna let me do it. I ended up with more like shallow U-ups rather than V-ups, and I cracked up each time, and laughing works the abs, so win-win. Time for dolphin push-ups. I don't know who named these, but I look nothing like a dolphin. I think they would look much more graceful doing push-ups if they could do push-ups. My last move was floor wipers, except my workout space in my filming area is next to a wall, so I couldn't swing my legs as wide as I normally do. Unlike the V-ups, I had no trouble lifting my legs with my ab muscles in this move. I did, however, neglect to keep my legs straight. Stinkerbell napped under my sewing table during my HIIT workout. A few takeaways from this experiment. None of the exercises were painful. If I had tried to push myself to bend as far as I can without a corset on in various yoga poses, that would not have been the case. The yoga was more annoying than anything, and I'm not sure I got a good stretch out of it. The HIIT workout was actually fun and quite entertaining. The snug hug of the corsets seemed to support me as I kept my torso uplifting during each move, even if the V-ups were more like noodle ups. And when I was done, I did not want to take off my Victorian corset because it was so comfy. My body heat helped it meld to my shape, and I only took it off because I had to get a shower. Imagine that, corsets can be comfortable. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love to know if you wear corsets or have experience with corsets, or if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. This really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm so I can get more support and keep making videos. And if you appreciate my general weirdness and nerdery and would like to see more historical costuming experiments or deep dives into literature and history, please subscribe. Thank you.